Welcome back to the deep dive. Our job is to take your source material, cut through the noise, and extract the precise insights you need to be truly well informed. Now, when you think about kidney health, most people, I think, their minds jump straight to really serious long-term stuff, right? Like diabetes or just, eating way too much salt. And look, those are definitely major concerns. But the research you've shared today, it points to something a lot quieter, maybe even more dangerous, because it's so silent. We're talking about things that are attacking your kidneys, these incredibly hardworking filters every single day. There's no pain signal. It's just this low-level inflammation, this chemical burn from the inside out. And by the time you actually feel it, a lot of that damage can be permanent. So for this deep dive, we've built a top 10 list. But we're not just naming foods. We are getting into the mechanics. How exactly does this ingredient damage those tiny blood vessels? What is this chemical doing to the cells?
And focusing on the how is so important, because as we go through this list, a pattern just becomes, well, impossible to ignore. It's almost never the food itself. The whole food, that's the villain. The real damage comes from industrial additives, really aggressive processing, or, and this is a big one, a critical imbalance. You're getting one compound without the nutrients that nature designed to go with it.
And that imbalance turns something normal into a real burden for the kidneys.
Exactly.
Okay, let's jump in. Number 10 feels like the obvious one. High sodium foods. We're talking packaged meals, canned soups, fast food. What's the deeper story here beyond just, salt raises your blood pressure?
The deeper story is everything. The source material really challenges that simple salt is bad idea. The problem isn't sodium itself. The problem is getting a huge dose of sodium without its mineral counterpart, potassium.
A counterweight.
Precisely. They work together to manage fluid in your cells. When you flood the system with sodium and there's no potassium to balance that exchange, your body just holds on to water.
So you get bloated and the pressure goes up.
Dramatically. And that pressure, it physically damages the tiny, delicate blood vessels inside the kidney. It's like trying to force a fire hose worth of water through a garden hose. Eventually, the hose is going to get damaged.
So wait, this is interesting. Is a low-sodium processed food still a problem if it also has zero potassium? Because the imbalance is still there.
That is exactly the right question to ask. Yes, the overall mineral context is what matters. If you're eating potassium-rich foods, think leafy greens, avocados, that kind of thing, your body can handle more sodium because the system is balanced. It's the processing that strips all that protection away.
Okay, that makes sense. Let's move to number 9, which I think will surprise a lot of people. Non-dairy coffee creamers. People think they're making a healthier choice, maybe cutting down on fat, but what are they actually putting in their coffee?
Well, often it's not cream at all. It's a kind of synthetic slurry. It's processed fats, sweeteners, and a bunch of chemicals. The sources point specifically to things like titanium dioxide, which is literally just a whitener.
A whitener?
Yeah. And various emulsifiers and artificial colors. And these aren't harmless. They interfere with the structural integrity of the kidney membranes themselves.
So they actually damage the tissue itself?
Over time, yes. They can make the membranes lining the kidney tubules leaky. When that happens, the kidney can't hold on to vital things like protein, and it starts spilling into the urine. That's a classic early sign of kidney stress.
Wow. Okay, let's talk about number 8, alcohol. The obvious hit is dehydration, right? Less water means it's harder for the kidneys to filter everything. But you mentioned something else, a toxic load that's abrasive.
That's the uric acid. When your body metabolizes alcohol, it kicks off a process that massively increases uric acid production. Now, you might know uric acid from gout, but in the kidney, it acts like tiny, sharp, almost glass-like crystals.
Ouch.
Yeah, and your filtration system has to deal with these sharp particles, which causes direct scarring and damage to the tissue. And of course, enough of them can clump together and form kidney stones.
What makes it even worse?
Fructose, mixed drinks, a cocktail with a ton of sugar, or worse, high fructose corn syrup. That fructose sends uric acid production into overdrive, far beyond what the alcohol does on its own.
That is a perfect transition to number 7, which is the ultimate health halo food that can be a hidden danger. Green smoothies.
Yes, a big surprise.
Yeah, if you're blending up a huge handful of spinach, almonds, and beets every morning, you could be setting yourself up for a problem. You're talking about oxalates.
Exactly. Oxalates are natural, but in these super concentrated doses, they can bind with calcium and form crystals, kidney stones. But, and this is really important, this doesn't happen to everyone. It all depends on your body's personal defense systems.
Okay, so what are the defenses?
There are 3 main lines of defense. The first one is breakdown. You need a really healthy gut microbiome, specifically with bacteria like Oxalobacter formigenes. It's a specialist. Its whole job is to eat oxalates in your gut before they even get absorbed.
So if your gut health is off, you've already lost your first shield. What's next?
The second defense is binding them in the gut. If you have enough calcium and magnesium in your meal, and this is key enough stomach acid to make them available, they'll grab onto the oxalates right there in your intestines. The whole package then just passes right out.
So it's neutralized before it ever hits the bloodstream. But what if it does get absorbed? Is there a last resort?
There is. Defense number 3 is the decoy. In your blood, you need citrate. You can get it easily from lemons or limes. Citrate acts like a decoy because it prefers to bind with calcium, so it swoops in, grabs the free calcium, and prevents the oxalates from finding a partner to crystallize with inside the kidney.
That's an amazing system. But it also means if any part of it is weak, low stomach acid, mineral deficiencies, a bad gut, your risk goes way up.
Way up. And then you add in something like dehydration, which concentrates the oxalates, or constipation, which lets them sit in your gut longer to be absorbed. And you've got a perfect storm.
Let's shift to industrial additives now. Number 6 on the list, artificial sweeteners. We're talking aspartame, sucralose, and acesulfame potassium. They're in everything diet. You said they're directly toxic, Al.
They're toxic in really shocking ways. Aspartame, for instance, when your body breaks it down, you get methanol, which is wood alcohol. And then that breaks down into formaldehyde.
Wait, formaldehyde
Yeah.
as in the stuff used for preserving things.
The very same. And formic acid. So you're basically asking your kidneys to filter out molecules that are, by their nature, poisonous to living tissue.
That's incredible. What about the others?
Sucralose seems to directly impair how the kidney tubules work, those parts that are supposed to reabsorb water and nutrients. And acesulfame potassium, or ACE-K, appears to accumulate in the kidney where it causes mitochondrial damage. It's like attacking the power plants of the kidney cells.
Okay, that leads us to number 5, processed meat. And let's clear this up right away. Is protein itself from like a steak bad for your kidneys?
For most people, no. That's a huge misconception. Your body needs protein for repair. The nitrogen waste it produces is only a problem in really extreme cases, or if you already have, underlying kidney disease or you're severely dehydrated.
So what's the real problem with the processed stuff, the sausages, the deli meat?
It's the cocktail of additives. It's the phosphate preservatives, the nitrates and nitrites, and these things called advanced glycation end products, or AGs, that form during high heat processing. That whole mix increases the acid load on your body and directly drives calcification and scarring in the kidneys.
And you mentioned phosphates. That's number 4 on the list. Phosphate-laden foods. We see these everywhere. Fake cheese slices, sodas, powdered mixes. Phosphate is natural. It's in our bones. Why is it a problem here?
It's all about the absorption. This is the critical difference. When a phosphate is added as an inorganic preservative, your body absorbs it at a shocking, totally unnatural rate of about 90%.
90%. And what's the natural rate?
From a whole food like beans or meat, where it's bound to protein, you only absorb maybe 30 to 40%. Our bodies are designed for that lower load. When you suddenly hit the kidneys with a 90% absorption rate, they just can't get rid of the excess fast enough.
And where does it go?
It stops going just to your bones where it belongs, and it starts getting deposited in soft tissues, your arteries, and especially your kidneys. It leads to a condition called renal osteodystrophy. Your kidneys literally start to calcify, to harden from the inside out.
Okay, let's get to number 3. This isn't a food, but it's so common we have to include it. NSAIDs. Non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs. We're talking ibuprofen, naproxen.
Yes, this is a major, major source of damage. NSAIDs work by blocking a chemical called prostaglandin that's great for reducing pain and inflammation. The problem is, prostaglandin also does a vital job in the kidneys.
Which is?
It keeps the blood vessels wide open to ensure maximum blood flow, and your kidneys are incredibly blood hungry.
Right, you said they use a huge amount of the body's blood supply.
A staggering amount. They're maybe 1% of your body weight, but demand 20% of your Hertz output. They need that massive flow to do their job. When NSAIDs block prostaglandin and restrict that flow, you're forcing the kidneys to do the same amount of work with way less oxygen.
It's like making them sprint while holding their breath.
An excellent analogy. That stress causes cells to die, and with regular use, you can permanently lose your filtering units, your nephrons.
All right, we're at the top 2. Number 2 is seed oils. Corn oil, canola, soybean, all the big ones. The seed itself isn't the issue, so what makes the oil so bad for the kidneys?
It is 100% the industrial processing. These oils are not just gently squeezed. They're subjected to intense heat, extreme pressure, and chemical solvents like acetone or hexane to get every last drop out.
So it's a really brutal process.
It is. And that process oxidizes the delicate fats and creates these toxic byproducts called aldehydes.
Aldehydes.
These are just flat out poisonous to your cells, but they seem to have a special affinity for kidney tissue. They directly damage the glomeruli, that's the very first tiny filtration unit, and they scar the tubules. They're physically degrading the filter, making it less and less effective over time.
Which brings us to number 1. The biggest offender of all, something that's in almost every processed food imaginable, sugar and its derivatives. We're talking sucrose, soda, candy, but especially high fructose corn syrup. You even mentioned that healthy agave can be 80% fructose. Why is fructose the main villain here?
Fructose is the villain because of how your body handles it. It's a true revelation. Unlike glucose, which pretty much any cell can use for energy, fructose has to be processed almost entirely by the liver. And when the liver gets hit with a big load of fructose, it has to work so fast that it burns through its main energy molecule, ATP.
Okay, and this is the connection I found so fascinating. Why does burning through ATP so fast hurt the kidneys?
Because of what ATP is made of. The backbone of that molecule, adenosine, is built with nitrogen. And in this rapid breakdown process, the liver can't recycle it, so that nitrogen has to go somewhere.
And it gets turned into...
It gets converted directly into uric acid.
Wow. So sugar, which has no protein, is one of the fastest ways to flood your body with uric acid. The same abrasive crystals we talked about with alcohol.
Exactly. It's this completely unexpected pathway. High fructose intake directly leads to chronic uric acid stress, which means kidney scarring, stone formation, and a permanent loss of function. #tagoutro. So when you step back and look at the whole list, you really see this twin attack on the kidneys. On one side, you have these highly processed alien compounds, the fake sugars, the toxic aldehydes from seed oils, the inorganic phosphates. They chemically damage or harden the tissue. And then on the other side, you have the attack of the toxic crystals, whether it's oxalates getting through your weakened defenses, or, and this is the big one, the massive wave of uric acid produced from fructose. These physically abrasive particles are just grinding away at the system.
So what does this all mean for you listening? We've talked about all these dangers, but we also kept coming back to the body's defenses, things like dehydration, a weak gut, a lack of balancing minerals like potassium. They all make you more vulnerable. And that leads to a really powerful final thought. Protecting your kidneys clearly isn't just about avoiding these top 10 foods. It's just as much about actively supporting your body's own defensive systems. If you can optimize your basic digestion and hydration, if the plumbing is working and your gut can neutralize threats, you're preventing so much of this damage from ever reaching the kidneys in the first place. Doesn't that make those basic habits just as important as dodging the poisons? What stands out to you about the power of those defenses? Thanks for diving deep with us.